Ousmane Dembele was one of the most highly rated prospects in football when he was playing with Rennes and Borussia Dortmund. In fact, he and Mbappe were the two players that were supposed to be the faces of the next football generation. However, with Dembele's move to Barcelona, his downfall started to occur, and this poor form only continued to his first season at PSG. So how did Dembele go from being a highly rated prospect to an injury-plagued flop? Well, let's take a look at the rise and fall of Ousmane Dembele. Dembele was born on May 15th, 1997 in Vernon, France. More specifically though, Dembele grew up in a poverty-stricken area since both of his parents immigrated from Africa to France with little to no money. However, despite growing up in the hood, Ousmane Dembele stayed out of trouble, and a huge thanks to that was because of football. He used to play the sport on the streets as a kid for around 7 hours a day, and playing on the cement is where Ousmane probably developed his flawless technique. With Ousmane continuously showing off his skill in street football, he eventually got noticed by his first club, Evru FC 27, and joined them when he was 12 years old. However, Dembele would be noticed by the scouts over at Stade Rennes, and he eventually joined the youth setup in 2014. And then in his first season for the Rennes Academy, he scored 13 goals in 18 games, including a hat-trick against a club called Hérouville. With Dembele performing so well for the academy, the Rennes coach at the time, Bruno Genesau, knew that Ousmane was first-team material, and gave the young Dembele his debut on November 6, 2015, against League One club Angers. Then later on in the month, Dembele scored his first League One goal for the first team against Bordeaux. Ousmane Dembele then continued to impress with the Rennes senior team for the rest of the season, by scoring goals and getting assists, but more importantly, being an influential speedster and trickster on the pitch. Eventually, in March 2016, Dembele would score his first hat-trick in League One in his debut season, bagging 3 against Nantes. In total for the 18-year-old, Dembele would bag himself 12 goals and 5 assists in 29 games, a remarkable amount for Dembele's first ever season in professional football. He was being praised by football fans all over the world, and was even called a future Ballon d'Or winner. The Rennes sporting director, Michael Silvestre, threw fuel into the fire as well, with him comparing Dembele to a young Cristiano Ronaldo, basically saying that they have a similar skill set and mindset at that age. Wow, imagine being compared to the great Cristiano Ronaldo at just 18 years old. Not only that, but the man who is running the club you're playing at. That's crazy. However, despite the internal praise from Rennes, Dembele wanted to make a move elsewhere, despite only spending 1 year at the French club. So when Borussia Dortmund came calling, a club notoriously known for nurturing and presenting opportunities to young talent, Ousmane Dembele signed on, signing a 5-year contract with the club for 15 million euros. A steal for a kid as talented as Dembele was. Now Ousmane enjoyed a great season with Dortmund. He scored his first goal for the club versus Wolfsburg on the 20th of September, and then 2 months later in November, he scored his first Champions League goal of his career. Way later into the 16-17 campaign, Ousmane Dembele assisted Aubameyang's goal and scored the 74th minute winner against Bayern Munich in the DFB Pokal semi-final, knocking Bayern out of the competition and taking BVB to the final. And then in the final in late May, Dembele ended up scoring the first goal of the 2-1 victory against Eintracht Frankfurt, helping BVB clinch their first major title in 5 years by winning the 2017 DFB Pokal Cup. Dembele was also later named man of the match for his performance as well. Overall in total for the season, Ousmane Dembele managed to get 10 goals and 21 assists in 49 games, helping him win the Bundesliga Rookie of the Year award and also being named to the Bundesliga Team of the Season. Clearly, Ousmane Dembele was performing out of his mind for someone who was only just 19 or 20 years old. And thanks to the partnerships he made with his Borussia Dortmund teammates, especially Aubameyang and Pulisic up front, Dembele became one of the top talents in the world. So much so that Dembele eventually caught the attention of his favorite club in the world, FC Barcelona. Now Barcelona at this time were in a desperate situation. Their iconic MSN trio was ripped apart in the summer of 2017, with Neymar choosing to take his talents to PSG for around 222 million euros to try and get out of Messi's shadow, as we all know. This left a gaping hole in the winger position for Barcelona, and they needed some star talent to hopefully replicate some of Neymar's contributions. Initially, Barcelona wanted to sign Coutinho, which they eventually did in January 2018. However, they wanted Coutinho in the summer, but Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool were persistent on not allowing him to leave. That's when Bartomeu and the rest of the Barcelona hierarchy landed their eyes on Ousmane Dembele. With Dembele having a similar playstyle to Neymar in terms of flair and speed, they thought Dembele would be a perfect Neymar replacement. Therefore, with Barcelona recently collecting over 200 million euros for the sale of Neymar, they decided to use a bunch of it to try and convince Borussia Dortmund to let him go. BVB had no intention of letting Ousmane Dembele leave though, with him literally signing the previous summer. Thing is though, Dembele's favorite club as a kid was Barcelona, so with persuasion from Dembele internally and also 105 million euros with 40 million add-ons for Barcelona, Dortmund accepted the deal, and Ousmane was headed to Spain. With this new 100+ million euro move, Dembele became the then second most expensive player in the world, after Neymar that same summer. Obviously, Barcelona were taking a huge risk here with signing Dembele, since he's literally had only 2 professional seasons under his belt. However, with the potential of Dembele being sky high, and the fact that he had no injury concerns in his couple of seasons, Barca decided that it was worth the risk. Now obviously in hindsight, we know that Barcelona maybe shouldn't have taken this big of a gamble, because in fact, this move for Dembele was the start of his downfall. Real quick before we get on with that though, please remember to subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it and it means a lot, so thank you. And also if you guys can, follow my Twitter and Instagram, both both at Nabuto if you just want to hear my thoughts on football games, transfers, and overall just to get to know me more. So if you want to, feel free to hit me up with that follow. Thank you. Back to topic, at the start of the 17-18 campaign, Dembele got his first start and second appearance for Barca in September. However, in that game, he injured his hamstring and was ruled out for 4 months, making this Dembele's first serious injury in his career. Then, moving on to January 2018, Dembele was ready to come back, but a couple weeks later, he injured himself again against Real Sociedad and was ruled out for around 4 weeks. When Dembele came back from his injury though, he started to cook for the remainder of the season. He scored his first goal for Barca in the Champions League round 16 against Chelsea, and then scored his first La Liga goal against Celta Vigo. He ended up scoring his first brace against Villarreal as well, and then played a part in helping Barca win the Copa del Rey and La Liga in his first season in Spain. Overall though, the 20-year-old Dembele got 4 goals and 9 assists in 24 games. Considering the fact that Dembele had 2 serious injuries in his first season at Barca, these aren't bad stats. Not world class obviously, but not too bad. Also, this was enough to get Ousmane Dembele called up for the France national team at the 2018 World Cup, his first competition with his country. Ousmane did make 4 appearances at the tournament, but within that, he only made 1 appearance in the knockout rounds, and that was only a 2-minute appearance against Uruguay in the quarterfinals. So despite Dembele being in the squad, he didn't really contribute to France's World Cup triumph. Still though, he did legitimately win the World Cup, which is fair enough. Moving on, the 18-19 campaign was much better for Dembele. This was the season where Dembele scored a remarkable solo goal against Tottenham, outrunning the Spurs defenders and finishing it nicely past Hugo Lloris. This goal got him the UEFA Champions League Goal of the Week, and even high praise from his manager Ernesto Valverde at the time, with him saying he's a player with tremendous talent. Overall though, Dembele enjoyed a better season, getting himself 14 goals and 8 assists in 42 games, playing a big role in helping Barcelona win a second La Liga title in a row. However, the 1920 season is when things really started to go downhill for Ousmane Dembele. Literally in the first game of the La Liga campaign, Dembele injured his left hamstring and was expected to miss around 5 weeks of action. When he came back against Sevilla, he got himself a goal, but then got himself a straight red card, being suspended for the following games. Then when he came back against Leganes, he suffered a torn muscle bundle that kept him out all the way until February 2020. But then in February 2020 is when Ousmane Dembele got another injury. That's right, he suffered a serious hamstring tear, and after his surgery, he was not going to return for 6 months, meaning he would miss the rest of the season, despite COVID extending the campaign. Next, the 2021 season went decent for Ousmane Dembele, with him getting himself 11 goals and 5 assists in 44 games. Overall though, this season was pretty irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. I'ma just keep it real with you. Now the 21-22 season was back to poor form for Dembele. He was dealing with more injuries, like another knee injury and another hamstring injury. So with injuries playing a role in the season, Dembele only managed to get 2 goals and 13 assists in 32 games. Only 2 goals? For a winger that supposedly has elite talent? Nah man, this ain't it. However, the head coach of Barcelona, Xavi, wanted Dembele to stay a bit longer at the club and believed in his talent. Thing is though, there was a ton of back and forth between Dembele and the Barcelona hierarchy over the contract, and there were months of disagreement. However, a solution finally arrived, but this solution would end up benefiting Ousmane Dembele. I'll get to that soon though, but for now, just know that Ousmane Dembele extended his Barcelona contract for 2 years, and also he decreased his wages by a lot. Now the 22-23 campaign was actually decent for Dembele. He got himself 8 goals and 9 assists in 35 games, and played a pretty big part in helping Barcelona win La Liga. But when you pay over 100 million euros for a player, you're expecting better stats than this. Additionally, Dembele had another serious injury in this campaign, where he got another hamstring injury in early February, so it wasn't looking too good for Dembele. Also, his 2022 World Cup with France didn't go as well either, with him giving away a penalty in the World Cup final for Argentina to score first, and then getting subbed out in the 41st minute. So basically, in this stage of Dembele's career, it wasn't looking too good for the one star boy. In fact, throughout his entire Barcelona career, he's missed almost 120 matches at his stay with the club, which pretty much equals a total of like 3 seasons. And also, he's played less games than Neymar at his time at Barcelona, despite staying at the club 2 seasons longer. Clearly, Dembele was not the best Neymar replacement. However, Xavi continued to believe in him and wanted Dembele to be at the forefront of this new Barcelona team. But Dembele had other plans. Remember Dembele's new Barcelona contract that I mentioned earlier, where Dembele cut his wages by a ton? Well, the reason why he did that was because he was going to get recuperated in a different way. You see, in his new contract that Dembele signed, there was a secret 50 million euro release clause, where a team could get Dembele's services if they approached him before the end of July 2023. However, Dembele would receive half the 50 million, meaning if a club paid that secret clause, Dembele would bake in 25 million euros. That's crazy. Also, quick shout out to Rabona TV for that contract explanation. Couldn't have learned it better without him. Anyways, the biggest club in France currently, PSG, became aware of this private clause in Dembele's contract. And then after paying it and Dembele pushing to leave, the deal was settled, and Dembele was set to be the next number 10 for PSG. Now this could be new beginnings for Dembele, and he could be one of the rising stars of this new PSG rebuild, alongside Kylian Mbappe, the player who he was set to be fighting over Ballon d'Ors with. By the way though, they're both still tied with 0 Ballon d'Ors. Regardless, this was a new opportunity for Dembele to truly show what he's got. So how's it going? Well, not so good. Out of the 17 games Dembele has played for PSG, he's gotten himself 5 assists, which is decent, but only 1 goal. goal, and that goal literally happened in the most recent league game against Monaco. Now Dembele has shown glimpses of his true talent, I'll admit, and even has his manager Luis Enrique's backing, with the gaffer saying Dembele is one of the most influential players in the world. Do I really believe that though? Not really. Anyways, it's crazy because there was a time where I wanted Ousmane Dembele to sign for my club Liverpool. Before signing Salah in the summer of 2017, I remember telling my friends that Dembele at the right wing position would be a good fit under Klopp. However, it's funny how things work, because now the right wing for Liverpool, Mo Salah, is one of the best players in the world, while Dembele might be the most overrated player in the world. Sad to see it end this way for real, but it seems for certain now that Dembele has definitely failed to live up to his high and unfair expectations. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please remember to subscribe to the channel, I'd really appreciate it. Also, please be sure to follow my Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch in the links in my YouTube description. I would really appreciate it. And last but not least, if you want to learn about a top prodigy with Man City right now, Jeremy Doku, you definitely want to check out this video right here. You won't regret it.